There's no other way to say it. It is an outstanding day here in South Florida. Welcome back, everyone. The Miami Dolphins playing host to the Cleveland Browns. And a couple of guys who will be spectators today. Channing Crowder, the fine linebacker of the Dolphins on the left. Brandon Marshall, the fine wide receiver on the right. They will not play here this afternoon. The Miami Dolphins have won the toss and they'll receive.
And not a big surprise with Crowder, but I think the Dolphins were a little surprised with Brandon Marshall being inactive today. He practiced on a limited basis this week with a bad hamstring, and Tony Sparano was very hopeful that I think he actually thought he was going to be able to play today.
Tony Sparano told us he would wait until the pregame warm-up and decided he's inactive today. There's Eric Mangini, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Phil Dawson getting set to kick it away for the Browns and get us underway. The Browns 4-7 on the year. Miami 6-5. Nolan Carroll is deep for Miami, and we're underway. 4 yards deep in his own end zone. Whoa! Hits hard at about the 15-yard line, and T.J. Ward led the charge for the Cleveland Browns. Chad Henne coming off a terrific game a week ago at Oakland. 307 yards and 2 touchdowns. He is just under 2,500 yards throwing for the season.
But you saw that one graphic there, 11 touchdowns against 12 interceptions. That's a stat that just has to get better.
So from the 15-yard line, Ronnie Brown with the handoff, and he gets about 3 yards on the play. As we check the Dolphins offensive line, number 79, Pat McQuiston, starting at right guard for the rookie John Jerry, although Jerry will see playing time. The backs and receivers, Devon Bess, starting for injured Brandon Marshall. And there is McQuiston, the fifth-year offensive lineman out of Weber State. Gain of 3 makes it 2nd and 7. And once again, it's Brown with running room. Very close to a first down, out close to the 25-yard line. The Browns 4-3 defense, anchored in the middle by the non-stop, ever-present Ataba Rubin. Terrific third-year nose tackle from Iowa State. The linebackers, former Dolphin Matt Roth on one side, former Dolphin David Bowens starts for injured Scott Fujita on the other. And the Browns start 2 rookies in the secondary, safety T.J. Ward and cornerback Joe Hayden, who has an interception in 3 straight games. And everybody's talking about number 71 in the middle of that D-line, Dan.
Well, you talk about Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator, Eric Mangini. They just can't gush enough about his hustle.
On first down, the give is to Luke Polite. And Polite lost a yard on the play.
Well, David Bowens, the former Miami Dolphin, he got into the backfield. Watch him knife right in here off left guard, and he gets inside Richie Incognito and not able to keep him out of there in that play. Talk about a blow up.
Loss of 1 on the play, 2nd and 11. Henne to throw for the first time today. Outside, Devon Bess, and Bess out across the 40-yard line to about the 41 and a first down.
Well, Brandon Marshall, again, who didn't play last week, watching the other guys do the work. And look at this, Devon Bess. Where are you going to find a guy more wide open than that? Sheldon Brown, the corner there, number 24, gave him, well, a comfortable little 15-yard cushion. And talk about taking advantage of soft coverage. Sheldon Brown needs to tighten that up.
Another first down for the Dolphins out to their own 41-yard line. Back to the ground game, and Brown out to the 45.
Well, again, this is not a fancy football team for Tony Sparano. He's not a fancy guy. But you know what? You talk to the Dolphins players, they love playing for Tony Sparano. He is no nonsense, but he's personable. His door is always open. He's got nice relationships with his players in terms of accessibility, and they play hard for him.
You know what I don't get, Dan? He's so emotional on the sideline, and he takes heat for that here in South Florida.
Well, I don't understand why that is. There's not a more emotional sport than football.
On 2nd and 6, Henne sets up the screen. This is Brown. Lots of running room. 35 to the 31. of the Cleveland Browns and another first down for Miami.
Man, there's nothing prettier than a well-executed screen, and that's exactly what this is. They invite the defensive lineman upfield. They're out of the play. They get the one kick-out block by Incognito, who just buries his guy. And then all the way downfield, Joe Berger, the center, he's having trouble finding a Cleveland Brown to block. Screen plays have not been good to the Cleveland Browns.
Ricky Williams into the lineup for the first time today on first down. Play fake to him. Kenny going to go for the end zone. Batted away, incomplete. Joe Hayden, the rookie cornerback, with the defensive play on Brian Hartline.
Well, first of all, Henny does a good job of identifying single coverage. There's no safety over the top here. Hartline, though, can't get separation from Joe Hayden, and the ball was probably a foot or so underthrown. Now, that's being mighty critical. That is a play that maybe if it was another couple feet downfield, Hartline could have made a play, but Joe Hayden step for step right with him.
Looked for all the world like the first touchdown pass Henny threw last week. The pitch for Williams, right side. Blocking goes out the window as he's forced out of bounds at about the 31 and 32 yard line by David Bowens.
Well, a bugaboo for lots of teams in the league is getting touchdowns. And you take a look at that, they lead the league in their percentage of field goals out of their total offensive drives, and 28th when it comes to touchdowns. That, a lot of time, is the difference between winning and losing football.
Kenny now looking at a 3rd and 10. And Ricky Williams going to run it left side. Inside the 25 to about the 23-yard line. That'll be short of a first down. And that's Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator for the Browns.
And here comes Dan Carpenter on the field for Miami, because it's just, again, they're so comfortable with him. But again, a nice opening drive. Got deep into Browns territory, but I think way too often for Miami fans, out comes Carpenter.
Carpenter has been clicking inside of 45 yards. This one's from 41 yards out.
That ball was blocked.
Yes, it was at the line of scrimmage. Deflected short and to the left.
Well, they're crowding around Sean Rogers, number 92. Is he the one that got it? He sure did. Big baby right in the middle, knocks it down.
Just a few seconds ago, Tony Sperano shaking his head on the sideline, and you can see why there. Special teams has been a real thorn in the side to the Dolphins this year, even necessitated a coaching change. Sean Rogers got that block of the field goal. So now, Cleveland from their own 31-yard line. Delone for Peyton Hillis. Maybe a yard.
Well, when we visited with Tony Sperano, he thought they'd rounded the corner with some of their special teams problems. Here we get Brandon Fields, a punt blocked against the New York Jets. I mean, these are just killers. Then they get another one blocked against the Patriots. That ended up costing special teams coordinator John Bonamego his job. Then a New England blocked field goal in the same game. And then this just moments ago, Sean Rogers gets a hand on it. They just can't round the corner.
The pass out into the flat to Hillis, and he is cut down out there on the far side by Vontae Davis coming up from the corner. It has been a revolving door at quarterback for the Browns. Jake Delhomme completing 60% of his throws, 1 touchdown pass in 95 attempts, 6 interceptions for the 12-year veteran. This is his 3rd start of the season. And he's looking at a 3rd and 8. That one is complete to Ben Watson, the tight end, but not nearly enough for a first down, and it'll be a 3 and out for Cleveland.
Good call by Mike Nolan, the defensive coordinator for Miami. He came with the blitz. It was a good adjustment by Delhomme, but because of the short pattern, the defense sits on it, forces a punt.
Devon Best will drop back and await the punt from Reggie Hodges. one will take a bounce, and Devon Best will let it roll out of bounds inside the 20-yard line and close to the 15. Tony Sperano says, let's try this again. First down, Miami when we get back. Welcome back as you see one of the many nice sights here in South Florida. Injury status already been hit. Titus Brown, reserve linebacker for the Cleveland Browns, has suffered a hip injury and he will not return today. Here's Ricky Williams on first down, and Ricky out across the 20 to about the 22-yard line.
So you can see the Dolphins changing up between Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams. Ricky has actually been the from a yards per carry average, the more productive of the running backs, but actually it is pretty much a 50-50 proposition between these two. Ricky Williams still got some juice in those legs though at 33 years old.
He picked up 4 in the 2nd and 6, and Henny will throw. Running out of time and breaks loose. Sliding down to the 25-yard line. And a late flag comes in.
Boy, and the Browns are going to argue that that was an ugly-looking hook slide, but the quarterback is going to be protected.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 50, defense.
That's
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I'm sure Barton would argue that I can't pull up because he really didn't declare himself. First of all, what a nice job of getting out of the pocket by Chad Henne. But when you see him go down, now he's giving himself up, and you just can't lower his shoulder and drive it in like that. That's not a head-first slide. He gave himself up, and Barton could have slid past him.
So first down at the 40-yard line. And here's Ricky Williams again for a couple. Ricky was telling us over the weekend prior to the game, it's nice to find a little space around you when you have the football.
Oh yeah, last week against Oakland, he had a breakout 48-yard run to kind of seal the game, and you get out in open space like that. He said it's been a while.
Hard to believe Ricky in his 10th season out of Texas. Second and 6, Henny with all kinds of time, running out now, and he got rid of it. Complete to the near side to tight end Anthony Fasano. He's to the 47. We go to James Brown for an update from New York. JB.
Greg and Dan, Brett Favre against the Buffalo Bills, rolling right on 3rd and 5, hit hard from behind by Arthur Moats. The ball is picked off. Favre injured his shoulder, return is questionable. Tavares Jackson in at QB for the Vikings. Let's go back to Greg Gumbel and Dan Dierdorf.
How many times do you think Brett Favre this season has asked himself why he came back?
Not many good things, though, Greg, happen to a quarterback who holds the ball for about 6 seconds. They will find him.
On 3rd and 2, the pass outside Ricky Williams is complete with an incomplete. Incomplete across midfield. Eric Barton covering on that play.
Well, so far in this game, we have seen a lot from Chad Henne in terms of, his pocket presence, getting away from the rush, taking off running with the football. He's delivered a couple accurate throws. And having said that, here comes a punting situation. But I think by and large, not a bad start for number 7.
Returner extraordinaire, Josh Cribbs, is deep. And they have no intention of kicking it to him. Sails into the end zone, out of bounds, and let's see where he put it out of bounds at about the 6-yard line.
That's a heck of a punt.
Good job by Brandon Fields. The Browns starting deep in their own territory. Peyton Hillis and the Browns with their work cut out for them when they come back. With the Browns starting from their own 6-yard line. With a 2 tight end setup. Jake Malone will start things off with Peyton Hillis, who has a hole on the right side and bursts out to the 19-yard line for a first down.
Well, a run blitz that time by Miami, and when you fill every gap like that, if one guy loses his gap responsibility, you're cooked. And that's exactly what happened right there. Carlos Dansby wasn't able to get back into that gap, and that's exactly where the Browns, as luck would have it, had called the running play.
So once again on first down, the pitch this time for Hillis, right side. and tripped up just as he crossed the 20-yard line. Paul Soliai out there to make the defensive play. The Cleveland offensive line, the standout at left tackle, Joe Thomas, the number 3 pick overall in the 2007 draft. The backs and the receivers, and the starting point for this Cleveland offense is Peyton Hillis. 905 rushing yards and 11 TDs coming in, 414 more receiving, and 2 more touchdowns through the air as you get a look at one of the very good left tacklers in the league, Joe Thomas. DeLome to throw on 2nd and 8. Little short pop over the middle, out across the 25-yard line to Brian Robisky. The Miami defense held Oakland to 16 yards rushing last week. 7th-year vet Randy Starks outside, joined by Langford and Soliai. The linebackers led by Cameron Wake. His 10.5 sacks this season, second only to Clay Matthews of the Packers, who has 11.5. And in the secondary, safety Jeremiah Bell. Big-time tackler. You'll have Peyton Hillis in his sights all day long. 3rd and 3. DeLome going deep. Nobody there. Brian Robisky called off his route short. Jake DeLome was thinking something else, and the Browns will punt.
Well, Robisky had the best game of his career last week with 7 receptions, but you're right, that was just DeLome read one thing, Robisky read another, and no one says right now that this Cleveland passing game is a work of art.
On 4th and 3, Devon Best again deep for the punt from Hodges. Fair catch called for, and that hit a Dolphin and bounced out of bounds.
Devon Best comes up to try to field the ball, but you're right, his blocker gets in his way and won't allow him to catch it.
That bounced off of Jonathan Amaya, throwing the block right there, and off of Best too. It'll be Miami ball after this. We welcome you back to Sun Life Stadium. The Dolphins get started at their own 30-yard line, and Henry with the handoff to Ronnie Brown. And look, Ronnie Brown out to almost the 40-yard line, and that's close to another first down.
I think Ronnie Brown going, hey, Peyton Hillis isn't the only guy here that can run behind his pads. Here comes Richie Incognito coming around on the old Power O. But watch this. Joe Hayden, I run over you. Let me tell you, I was running over people when you were still at Florida. Nice job there by Incognito. Pro Bowl qualities there out of their left guard.
On 2nd and 1. Kenny with the give to Brown. And Brown gets enough for a first down out to the 42. As we come up on 2 minutes to play here in the first half.
Well, the Dolphins have already had one productive drive from a yardage standpoint. It ended up in no points because they had a blocked field goal. You can see right there the Dolphins are racking up some yards.
So new set of downs. Chad Henne throws sideline. And that's complete and hit almost immediately as Devon Best. As we come up on 1.5 minutes to play, opportunity to tell you the MetLife Blimp providing today's coverage.
December already, and I'll tell you where else, Greg, we might be one of the very few games in the NFL today where the fans are comfortable in their seats. It is cold around the rest of the country, really cold. Of course, you don't need me to tell you that if you're back in Cleveland.
On 2nd and 2, they'll give it to Brown, and Brown gives it a second effort at the line of scrimmage and is very close to another Miami first down as we are inside of 1 minute to play for the first quarter.
And again, I don't think Rob Ryan there, you're looking at him, the defensive coordinator of Cleveland, was expecting anything a whole lot different than this. These are two teams that trying to build something, and one of the ways you try to build something is you start trying to build a physical platform, power. And both of these are two power football teams. It's the first word you think of when you think of either one of them.
Third and short. Henny going to throw it outside and complete. Polite, the intended receiver.
Well, that time Rob Ryan came with the blitz right up the middle, and it disrupted Henny to the point where he wasn't able to deliver a good ball. If he could have gotten that ball to Polite where he could have turned himself upfield, but it was a low fader behind him, and Polite could do nothing with it.
So once again, Cribbs back to his own 10-yard line. 2 punt returns for touchdowns in his career, 8 kickoff returns for TDs. High floater, fair catch, called for and made at about the 14 or 15-yard line. With 17 seconds to play in the first half, we are scoreless. Got a sports fan on your gift list? CBSSports.com. Shop has officially licensed NFL gear and get 3-day shipping on every order. Go to shop.cbssports.com. Cleveland at the Browns' 14-yard line. And this is Hillis. Forward progress marked close to the 15-yard line. That'll be little or no gain as we come down to the end of the first quarter here at Sun Life Stadium. We'll change ends of the field. We'll take a timeout. Cleveland and Miami scoreless after 1. We choose football. Others here in the Sunshine State choose other things as we welcome you back to Sun Life Stadium for the start of the second quarter. Hillis with a gain of 1 to end the first quarter, and it's 2nd and 9 and Delhomme to throw. Hillis spun down at the 15-yard line.
Well, good tackle there by Sean Smith, and there is Colt McCoy. You can identify him with the walking boot.
Well, they've had a lot of those walking boots in this on this team.
The quarterbacks just were passing them around. Amazing that all 3 of them missed time because of ankle injuries. All of them at one time or another were in a walking boot. They blame it on team president Mike Holmgren, who showed up at training camp in a walking boot after some surgery, and they feel he just passed it around.
Here's a 3rd and 9 for Delhomme and the Cleveland offense. Over the middle. Hit his man out across the 25 to the 30-yard line is Ben Watson, the tight end, and a first down for the Browns.
Well, that was good pass protection by the Cleveland offensive line. They formed a nice little pocket there for Jake Delhomme. Just take a look at that. He's able to step right up. He's got a nice tunnel right up the middle where he can see, and Sean Smith not able to stay with Watson. It is a game of inches. Look how close that ball came to being deflected at the line of scrimmage.
Instead of being 4th down, it's a first down at the 30-yard line. Below on the run and throws it away. It'll be 2nd and 10 when we come back, but right now to James Brown in New York, JB.
Hey, Greg, defensive back Drayton Florence of Buffalo having a big game. He picked off Brett Favre on the injured shoulder play. Picks off Tavares Jackson here, returns at 40 yards to pay dirt. Brett Favre still in the locker room. Return is questionable. Up 7-0. Hey, tell Dan Deerdorf, no walking boots allowed here in the studio. Back to Greg Gumbel.
No, they just go right to the
players. Our guys in New York, they can talk even if they're hurt. These guys, toughness.
2nd and 10.
Love it.
Hillis. Boy, he is squarely in the sights of the Miami defense today. What a wonderful young man he was to sit down and talk with.
A lot to like. A lot of yes sirs, no sirs. He just loves the game of football. He's a spiritual guy. And look at that face mask he wears. He said it reminds him of the old Razorbacks. He's an Arkansas player. Just imagine he was there at the same time with Darren McFadden and Felix Jones. The 3 of them all in the backfield together at the University of Arkansas.
Fairly decent talent.
That's pretty darn impressive.
3rd and 6. The long pass batted at the line of scrimmage, and it falls incomplete. and that'll bring about a punting situation.
Well, we talked about Peyton Hillis and his collegiate background. There he is. He was mostly a blocker for either McFadden or Felix Jones, but that is where guys first found out that he was a pretty gifted receiver. And then when he got a chance, he could go with it. But I tell you the thing about Peyton Hillis, he's such a powerful man with soft hands. Great receiver, excellent receiver.
Devon Best backing up all the way to his 10-yard line. And back across the 20 out to about the 23 or 24-yard line. Peyton Hillis going to take a breather. We'll take a timeout. We're still scoreless. Mentioned at the top of the day how the Dolphins would like a little home cooking for their fans here. It's been night and day, the difference between the road and home.
Sperano is trying everything. He even brought them here for their Saturday walkthrough. Instead of at their practice facility, they came here to the stadium.
Kenny to throw on first down. Good protection down the sideline. It is picked off by Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden with an interception in his 4th straight game, his 5th pick of the season.
And you saw the frustration on Brian Hartline's face because he had a couple steps on Joe Hayden, but the ball is pretty severely underthrown by Chad Henne. Hartline, look at him. He spun Hayden all the way around, and he's just got to come to a complete stop to wait on the football. That ball was underthrown by Chad Henne by a good 4 yards. And Joe Hayden got pretty lucky there. Yeah, he made the play on the ball, but he was beaten badly. And more often than not, you end up trailing a guy into the end zone instead of getting the interception.
So a quick turnaround, and the Browns with the ball at their own 35-yard line. Josh Cribbs into the lineup. And under pressure, DeLome got rid of it to Hillis, and maybe a 1-yard gain on the play.
Well, one of the surest tackling safeties in football is Jeremiah Bell there, number 37. I mean, he's up there, and he's got to set the edge, and he comes in, and he gets right in the face of DeLome. Now, not a big hit. He was careful not to draw a personal foul, didn't slap him in the head or anything.
Jake Delhomme told us he doesn't think Jeremiah Bell gets enough credit for the way he plays the game. He's all over the place.
Jeremiah Bell did tell us the last thing he was going to think of before he fell asleep last night, though, was Peyton Hillis.
On 2nd and 9. That pass complete and upended at the 40-yard line is Muhammad Massaquoi. And Sean Smith delivered the hit.
Well, that's the type of hit that we're going to see more of here in the National Football League because of all of the penalties that come from hitting players high. So you know what? That's what we're going to see, going for the knees, going down low. The alternative was to run the risk of a fine or a penalty by hitting a guy up around the head.
3rd and 6. Delhomme under pressure had to get rid of it. Cameron Wake, number 91, in on the quarterback, and the Browns can make nothing of the turnover.
Cameron Wake is just relentless. And there aren't many players in the league that have a motor that runs his speed. Take a look, he just gets inside John St. Clair. He just beats Sinclair with a good inside move to the inside. Cameron Wake has developed into an elite, and I mean elite player in the NFL.
Devon Best back at his own 15-yard line. Reggie Hodges got off a season-best 58-yard punt his last attempt.
And Chad Henne says, thank you, defense.
Best takes a look, calls for the fair catch, and makes it at about his own 19-yard line. 10:44 to play in the first half. Points on the scoreboard, anyone? Not yet. Welcome back to Sun Life Stadium. 10:44 to play. In a scoreless first half, there is Chad Pennington. And here's the Wildcat offense with Ronnie Brown in charge. He will keep it and go straight ahead to about the 22, and a late flag falls in the backfield. Al Riveron initially indicates a holding call.
Holding, number 72, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's the right tackle Vernon Carey. So that will back the Dolphins up to just inside their 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and 20.
When you saw the frustration on Tony Sperano's face, because on a running play is the time you really don't expect your offensive lineman to get a holding call. Normally they occur on pass downs.
This is Ricky Williams. It has not been an offensive explosion thus far today.
Well, they really started out well with that opening drive, 10 plays, 62 yards, but then it ended with that blocked Carpenter field goal. And since then, it has not been pretty. And the last one, that was just an inexcusable throw by Chad Henne on the first play. And there's offensive coordinator Dan Henning, 68 years old. That man has forgotten more football than a lot of people will ever know.
On 2nd and 15, Henne, far side of the field, and that was incomplete, intended for Marlon Moore, and Joe Hayden there to break it up.
Well, you could see that Marlon Moore was complaining that Hayden shoved him, but you can't say that Joe Hayden hasn't been in the middle of things right off the bat.
And he grabbed an arm.
He did pull his right arm away. When Joe Hayden fought to get back in position, you're right, he got away with it. He pretty much got the wrist of Moore and pulled it away from him so he couldn't use it to make the catch.
And now Henne looking at a 3rd and 15. He needs the 30-yard line for a first down. Cleveland secondary dropping way off, and this one was thrown away on the near sideline. Hartline, the nearest receiver, but no chance to complete that one. And now
the crowd expressing a little frustration. And you know, Chad's been drilled like any quarterback in this league. If you're going to make a mistake, you don't make it inside your own 20-yard line. The old adage, any drive that ends with a kick isn't that bad, even if it happens to be a punt.
Tripped up as he crossed the 40-yard line, and he's down at about the 41 or 42. We're at the 9:20 mark to play here in the first half, and we're still scoreless. Hey, did you know you can listen to every game live online with NFL.com Audio Pass? For special offers, go to NFL.com/Audio Pass or search NFL Audio Pass. Both these teams have combined for 7 first downs and 7 punts so far here today. Here's Hillis. And so far, the Dolphins have done a good job of corralling Peyton Hillis.
Well, and because that was job number 1 for the Miami Dolphins and Mike Nolan is to try to remove Hillis from getting a real downhill run at him. And Joe Thomas of the Browns told us, look, we know if we can keep the line of scrimmage clean, he's good for 4 yards. But right now, that line of scrimmage is not clean. There's a couple of guys in white jerseys waiting for number 40.
Hillis with 21 yards rushing on the day. That's 5 yards more than the Dolphins allowed all last week at Oakland. On 2nd and 8, Hillis with a head of steam across midfield and into Miami territory, and a first down at the 47.
Well, the one thing you can say about Peyton Hillis is that he's decisive. You talk about a one-cut guy. When he sees it, here he comes, and you better get out of the way. And that was just a really nice job of blocking there by Thomas and Steinbach and Alex Mack, the center. That is a big hole. Floyd Womack gets a little steal on the right side.
Now the pitch for Hillis. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Well, it was interesting to hear him say, you know, when he got the full shot to play regularly this year, he was bound and determined. He promised himself he'd take full advantage. I'd say he's done that.
Yes, I would say he's done that. And again, you talk to anybody about Peyton Hillis, and it's just the same phrase. He just loves football. He loves the playing of the game. He loves to practice it. He loves to talk about it. He even likes to be in meetings about football. As a coach, that's a dream.
Now from the shotgun on 2nd and 10. Short pass, and that was complete inside the 45 to the 43 is Hillis. And once again, another update from James Brown
Hey, Greg and Dan, we know that New Orleans is trailing the Falcons by 1 game in the NFC South. Take a look at Chris Ivory right here. Out of the pack, Greg and Dan, and it is goodbye. 55 yards to pay dirt. Capping a 3-play, 68-yard drive. 10-3 Saints in the second. Greg Gumbel, Dan Deardorff.
James Brown, thank you so much. 3rd and 6 here for the Browns. The pitch for Hillis. And Hillis is stacked up at about the 42 or 43-yard line. That'll be well short of a first down. The rookie linebacker Koamisi leading that charge.
Oh, that almost looked like the Miami defense was inside the Cleveland huddle. Talk about a play that had no chance at all. Look at them all slanting that direction, coming right into it, and there's just too many people there. And Misi, again, with a good shoulder tackle. What a find they have here in the second round when they found Koamisi for Utah.
Reggie Hodges' right leg getting a workout here. Devon Bess going to let it bounce. And the Browns killing it at the 1-yard line. Mark Adams corralled it and pitched it back. Nice job by Adams, and then Sammy Piscatelli was there to down the ball at the 1.
Oh, Adams knew his momentum was going to carry him back into the end zone. Rather than take that one step back, get rid of it. Beautiful.
No surprise that Reggie Hodges knocked that down inside the 10-yard line. Hodges 13th of the year, leads the NFL, but he sure got help. Chad Henne throwing out of his end zone. To Devon Bess, shakes a tackler. 15. Out across the 20, up to about the 23 or 24-yard line, and a first down.
Yeah, that's a beautiful play call by Dan Henning because he shows run all the way. He even brings in an extra offensive lineman there on the right side, Murtha, to be a tight end. And what do? They all pass block, and you put it in the hands of a playmaker. Devon Bess is a tremendous open field runner.
Now we have a penalty marker down and a late conference by the officials.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 15, offense. After the goal, it will be 1st and 10.
And that's on Mr. Bess.
Well, Al Riveron didn't explain what the unsportsmanlike conduct was. I don't know if he taunted someone, he stuck a ball in somebody's face. Well, but that, because it was after the play was over, you still get credit for the first down.
And that'll drop them back to the 12-yard line. And the Wildcat offense on the field again. Ronnie Brown calling signals as Chad Henne looks on from the sideline. The handoff this time to Ricky Williams. And under 5.5 to play. Once again, James Brown in New York.
All right, Greg and Dan, take a look at how the Jags took a 14-0 lead on 1st and goal from the 4. David Gaddard on a keeper, 4-yard TD. That capped a 13-play, 57-yard drive, 14-0 Jacksonville on top of Tennessee. Greg Gumbel and Dan Deardorff.
JB, thank you. Never a question about David Garrard's running ability.
No, nor the fact that the Tennessee Titans know all about it as often as they play them.
More Wildcat again on 2nd and 5. Williams, right side. First down yardage out to about the 24-yard line.
Well, we talked about what could have happened that Devon Bess got called for that unsportsmanlike penalty. Here's the conclusion of the play. All right, the play's over. Oh, he's unhappy that his ankle's being twisted a little bit. Oh, and he bounced it off a helmet. That's what was going on right there. Jason Trusnick, the Browns linebacker, wouldn't let go of his ankle.
Not mortal damage there, but still.
Oh, no, well, you can't bounce a football off another player's helmet.
On 1st down, this is Ronnie Brown.
Now, having said that, it's not cool to get your ankle twisted either when the play's over. And stuff like that goes on all the time, and Devon Bess has just got to deal with it. You can verbally express your displeasure, but that'll draw the flag every time.
2nd and 6 as we've dipped under 4 minutes to play in a scoreless first half.
Now, while we're talking about Devon Bess, I would try really really hard to get the football to him as often as possible. He is a playmaking son of a gun.
Henny to throw. With gun. Intercepted at the 45-yard line by Abram Elam. Elam puts the Browns in terrific position as Henny throws another interception. And that one looked like it sailed on him a bit.
Well, Chad Henne really started this game. His first couple of throws were spot on, and he looked pretty sharp. But since then, his accuracy has not only been diminished, it's almost disappeared. That ball was high and behind, and Abram Elam just is able to make a play on it. But this ball from Chad Henne, not anywhere near where he wanted it to be as he was trying to get it to Devon Bess. So you're right. 2 interceptions, one on a severe underthrow, one on a high sailor.
And Rob Ryan says, yeah, we're going that way, and we got good field position, too. First down for Cleveland at the Miami 28. Brandon Marshall helped us to contribute today. DeLong over the middle, close to the 25-yard line to Peyton Hillis, and he's hit almost immediately as he makes the grab by Tim Dobbins.
Tim Dobbins getting the start today because Channing Crowder isn't able to play. Crowder's had a tough year injury-wise, but again, right now you've got some serious talks going on over there on the Miami sidelines about what do we have to do here to get Chad Henne in sync.
Second and 7. DeLong pulls it down. All kinds of time throws. End zone. It is caught and out of bounds. Chancey Stuckey was all alone back there for a while, but couldn't stay in bounds.
Boy, he really tried to make a superior effort to catch this thing and get his feet down. Again, look at all the time. No Miami pass rush at all. But Stuckey's just standing there, and it's really the good hit. It's a really good hit by Chris Clemens, the safety, that jars the ball out of there. Plus, it knocks him out of the back of the end zone. That's as a receiver. You're looking at that football, and it just can't get there fast enough. It looks like it's in slow motion.
3rd and 7. Short drop, quick pass to the outside. It's complete to Ben Watson, and Watson is run out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. Very close to a first down.
Yeah, Jeremiah Bell was right there with Watson, and man, that was a test of wills. One trying to get to the sticks, the other trying to deny him. And Jake Delhomme, he's just wondering exactly what is going on. And they are going to give them a first down and move the sticks, so Jake looks like he's having some real issues in terms of communication with his sideline.
And he's having a conversation now with Al Riveron, the referee, as I think they're discussing the play clock, which is ticking down. And
they're going to take the timeout. Yeah.
So DeLong will consult with the sideline, and we'll take a break and come right back. Well, the last 3 games, Miami has been +4 in the turnover department. Today, they're a -2, and Chad Henne with a couple of picks.
Well, and -2 for the day, which puts them at -5 for the season. And when you're -5 in the turnover differential, it's hard to have a winning record, which the Dolphins do. Granted, you know, just barely at 6-5, but that's overcoming turnovers like that, not easily done.
First trip into the red zone today for either of these teams. Cleveland with a first down at the Miami 18. Hillis yanked down almost immediately by Randy Starks, and that'll bring us to the 2-minute warning. Hey, maybe at halftime they'll say first team to score wins. We're scoreless with 1:59 to play. I have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Subway halftime show. 2nd and 10. DeLong throws, and that one is complete to the sure-handed Peyton Hillis, and he's run out of bounds with 1:53 to play.
And I'll tell you something, you don't see this every day. That's the only guy DeLong looked at. I mean, he was looking at Hillis all the way. This play was just designed to throw the ball to the back out of the backfield, trying to get him out in space. I mean, he's just tracking Hillis all the way. There was never another option. And a nice job by Delhomme of throwing the football around Kendall Langford, the defensive end. He had to adjust at the last minute and delivered a pretty good pass.
3rd and 6. Delhomme looking left, throwing left, and off the fingertips of Mohamed Massaquoi.
Well, he's trying to back shoulder Massaquoi, and a good play by the rookie Nolan Carroll. I mean, he's locked in there. He's got man coverage. He's not playing the football. He's got pretty decent coverage. A little bit of an errant throw, though, by Delhomme. If that had been a perfect pass, and I mean perfect, Massaquoi might have been able to catch it, but not bad coverage by Nolan Carroll.
Phil Dawson will attempt to give us our first points of the day from 32 yards out. Call the neighbors. A minute 43 to play in the first half. There's been a field goal sighting. It's 3-0 Browns. You see the timeout situation. Cleveland with 2, Miami with all 3 of theirs, and a minute 43 to play in a low-scoring first half.
And boy, would Chad Henne like to get in a couple of good throws before having to go into the locker room, just from a confidence standpoint.
Nolan Carroll is deep. And he'll get a chance to return this one from the 3. Across the 30, tripped up as he got to about the 35-yard line.
Well, Cleveland has the 3-0 lead, but it's been the Miami mistakes that have really been a problem for them. A good opening drive, but then Shawn Rogers blocks the field goal. And then it was a pair of Chad Henne interceptions. The first time on an underthrow where Joe Hayden makes the interception, and then Abram Elam on an overthrow. So a little bit of everything from Chad Henne in terms of those interceptions. And again, I reiterate that point. He would like to have something positive to take with him heading to intermission.
Well, Cleveland is going to be in the locker room with 80 total yards to their credit in the first half, and they may have the lead, depending on what Chad Henne is able to do here. Pass to the outside, and that is grabbed at about the 40, and up again is Patrick Cobb. And Cobb's out of bounds at the 45. Let's see. First down?
Well, we've got a flag way back in the Miami backfield.
Personal foul, roughing a passer, contact to the helmet, number 53, defense. The 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run, automatic first down.
That's the ex-Miami Dolphin, Matt Roth.
And again, let's see, does he make contact with Henne's helmet? Oh yeah, right there he comes in, and it looks like he slapped him with the left hand and then gave him a right in the throat. And all of a sudden, because of the good kickoff return, and now another 15 yards, Miami, in a span of seconds, is already down to the Cleveland 40.
Just under a minute and a half to play. Ronnie Brown. Blocking never developed, and he's back to the line of scrimmage only.
And again, tackled by Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden has been everywhere in this football game. Again, the rookie back here in the state where he was such a star for the Gators. He is playing himself a real hand.
Henne looks this way this time, and that catch is made, and diving for the sideline is Roberto Wallace. And he doesn't get there. The clock continues to move, coming up on 50 seconds to play. Third and a yard, and Henne is going to keep it and sneak for the first down.
I'll call your timeout real quick.
And they will stop the clock with 41 seconds to play. Timeout Miami, quick break, and we're back after this. Each team down to 2 timeouts now. Greg Gumbel, Dan Deardorff, 41 seconds to play here in the first half. Henne hit and down at the 36-yard line. Shawn Rogers making his presence felt in this first half.
Well, normally when you see a defensive lineman, if he's only able to get one arm or one hand on a big, strong guy like Chad Henne, that's not enough. But, well, he got both. At first I thought it was only one. Shawn got both. I was going to make the point when that arm is connected to a 350-pound body, though it has a little more oomph to it. Shawn Rogers, because Ataba Rubin is playing so well at nose tackle, doesn't have to play as many snaps. And what he is playing is a lot of the times now on passing situations. And he is a real force. He is collapsing pockets for the Browns.
6'4", 350
Yeah.
in his 10th year out of Texas, and
we
a
saw
Texas
him-
teammate of Ricky Williams.
And we saw him elevate and block that field goal. He got the blocked field goal in the first quarter.
2nd and 17. Kenny, incomplete at the 30. Incomplete. Roberto Wallace did not have it long enough.
No, he didn't. And you can, oh, and there's Richie. Richie, walk away. Walk away. There's the new Richie Incognito.
There was a day he wouldn't walk.
Don't let him draw you in there. That's progress.
We talked to him about those days. He says that's in the past, and they're going to stay in the past.
Well, he has not had a personal foul all season long here with the Dolphins. He says he has grown up. He's entirely focused on what he has to do, and that involves not letting down his teammates by doing something dumb.
3rd and 17. Screen for Cobb. Running room. Penalty marker flies as Cobb fights his way to about the 25-yard line.
I wonder if they're going to get Incognito for out there blocking while the ball was in the air. He was out there early on the screen. It looks like it's going.
Pass interference, number 18, offense. 10-yard penalty. It will remain 3rd down.
That penalty is on Roberto Wallace.
Yes, they're going to get Wallace. Incognito was out there at the same that screen. It looked like it was a lot slower developing than the blockers out front were expecting. So they're in the midst of making blocks while the ball is in the air and hasn't been caught yet, and that is offensive interference.
So for the moment, there goes the opportunity for a tying field goal unless Chad Henne can work some miracles here in the final 14 seconds.
Well, he has the whole field at his disposal and still having one timeout. Now all of a sudden the play clock is down under 10 seconds. Oh, and this isn't where you wanted to use that timeout. No, that was not where you wanted to have to burn that timeout.
So Miami uses its 3rd and final timeout before the play clock expires. Gives us a moment to remind you tonight on 60 Minutes, something big brewing at Facebook. What is it? Find out directly from CEO Mark Zuckerberg on 60 Minutes. Plus, Ben Bernanke and his predictions for the economy tonight.
Well, now the question for Miami is if you have a quick completion over the middle in 14 seconds, can you get up there, line up, and spike the football? It's going to depend on how long Henne takes to deliver the football and how quickly they can get up there. But they are on the real cutting edge of whether or not they can pull that off. That was a disastrous use of your lone timeout.
I think it's safe to say the Dolphins can prepare themselves for a chorus of boos as they head to the locker room.
And that may not be the loudest thing they hear, because once they get in there, Tony Sperano may have a few things to say.
Not a single trip into the red zone for the Miami Dolphins here in the first half, and now Cleveland takes a timeout.
Well, and that's okay. That's pretty smart by Eric Mangini and Rob Ryan. They got the Dolphins to declare themselves. It was a formation they weren't entirely comfortable with, so hey, make sure that you've got it all covered on that side of the ball.
There's Rob Ryan, the twin brother of Jets head coach Rex Ryan, and the younger brother by about 5 minutes.
Yeah, and, you know, he told us when we talked with him the other day, he said, we're not identical twins. That's the first time I'd ever heard that because, man, they are, they're twins for sure, and they sure look identical to me. They sound exactly alike, and they have some football lineage. Sons of Buddy.
Defense all through that family. 3rd and 27. Kenny looking left, throws, and that one's complete and out of bounds to Devon Best, and that stops the clock with 7 seconds to play. And Dan Carpenter is going to come on the field and attempt a lengthy field goal.
Well, considering that about a minute and 25 seconds ago, they were actually 2 yards farther down the field than they are now. That was an ugly series of events for the Dolphins. They were right at the 40 with about 1:25 left in the half.
This will be a 60-yard field goal attempt. He has a career high of 54. On its way. How about that one? 2 seconds remaining, and you see Carpenter launch the longest field goal in the history of the Miami Dolphins.
And keep in mind that we are at sea level. We are not in Denver. That is a heck of a job of powering the football over the crossbar by Carpenter. And look at that. Watch it come in, and that clears the crossbar by no more than a foot. Oh, sweat that baby out to the very end. Look at that. I'm sure what Tony Sperano is thinking, I've seen him do it in practice before. He wouldn't have sent him out there if he didn't know he had the leg to do it.
How about Tony Sperano is just thinking, please, let something good happen to us before this half expires.
Well, you have to drive the ball lower to get that much distance out of it, and you run the risk of a block, especially considering that they had one blocked in the first quarter. And that's got him dancing in the aisles here.
And this one will be squibbed right along the ground, and the Browns will not return this one, and that'll bring us up to the end of the first half. Dan Carpenter, a 60-yard field goal to tie it at 3. We're back with the Sprint halftime report after this message and a word from your local station.
1 second, please.
And now we're going to have 1 second to play on the clock.
Well, I guess they're going to say that the Browns player gave himself up, and when you do that, that stops the clock. That's very, that's up to the discretion of the officiating crew and the clock operator, but Alberto Riveron is saying let's put 1 second and give Cleveland one play.
So teams have to come back from being halfway up the ramp and into the locker room.
Well, we had to come back. We were almost out of the booth.
I was out of here.
Well, all of this, and Cleveland's going to kneel on the football.
And now we're done.
But we are technically correct. We went by the letter of the law.
3-3 tie at halftime. Back with the Sprint halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. This is the NFL on CBS.
We've seen very little of it, and the big question mark right now for the home Miami Dolphins, can Chad Henne right the ship?
Browns get their hands on the ball first, and here is Josh Cribbs. Cribbs will run this one out from a yard deep in the end zone. 20. Tripped up and forward across the 25 to about the 26-yard line by Vontae Davis. And a look at the halftime numbers shows not a whole lot going on.
Well, again, that is on the left-hand side there. That's a very small number right there. 79 total yards for a half, only 4 first downs. But again, the 2 turnovers over on the other side for Miami have been the equalizer. Yards don't matter if you're going to turn it over.
Detailed for you at the beginning of the day how this Cleveland team has been up and down. Some heartbreaking losses. They've beaten some really good football teams. On first down, Hillis. And Hillis has pretty much been held in check. Vontae Davis coming in off the corner.
Well, Greg was talking about how competitive the Browns have been. And, Eric Mangini told us, it's first you learn how to work, then you learn how to compete. He said, we've done those 2. The third thing is you learn how to win. And he goes, we're partway there. And the fourth thing is you learn how to win consistently. They are not anywhere near that yet. They're still partially into stage 3.
On 2nd and 9, Hillis again straight ahead. And not going to get anything. Lost the ball, but after the whistle blew.
Yeah, that was way after he was stood up and that play was over. But it just shows you the mindset of the NFL now when it comes to playing defense. The first two guys stand you up, and every guy that comes in after that is going for the football.
Now, these Miami Dolphins were treated to a special look at Hillis.
Well, look at that. Everyone in there is going for the football. Finally, Tim Dobbins was the one that was able to pull it out. Yeah, they saw him a couple years ago in Denver, and he ran all over them, through them, over them, caught passes on them.
And the defensive coaches put on a tape specifically of Peyton Hillis this week to make the point. Quick pass, had it in the air, incomplete. Benny Sapp was in on the loan. Pretty good defensive series to start this second half for Miami.
Again, they've been playing good defense this entire game. But that was just a smart play by Sapp. He realized he wasn't going to get there in time. Elevate, time it, and he gets some kudos from the boss.
So now Devon Best back at his own 25-yard line. And Hodges, under pressure, got it away. Hits the deck, no penalty flag. Best dancing. Can't dance out of trouble, though, at the 27-yard line. Jason Trusnick with the stop. Reggie Hodges trying to draw the flag. Goes down in a heap. No penalties. And Miami on offense. That's the former Florida Gator, Joe Hayden, the first-round draft choice of these Cleveland Browns, who's made his presence felt here in the game so far. Ricky Williams takes it around the left side, and Abram Elam runs him out of bounds.
Well, Joe Hayden, you couldn't hardly have more of an active first half than he had. Right off the bat, he's in good coverage, knocks the pass away, intended for Hartline. Now he got lucky here a little bit. The underthrow allows him to get back in on it after Hartline had beat him. But again, there he makes another pass defense, made some good open field tackles, and in his only third start in the NFL, Joe Hayden is coming along nicely.
On 2nd and 3, Ricky Williams is looking for a first down, and he is very close to it at about the 39-yard line. He will have a first down.
It's just a Miami offense that, again, is missing Brandon Marshall, who's not playing for the second week in a row with a bad hamstring, although they overcame that last week in Oakland. There's Marshall. Such a physical presence on the field. They had their largest yardage output of the season last week in Oakland, but it's much more of a struggle here today.
Kenny with the quick pass, and that's incomplete. Anthony Fasano, the tight end, the intended receiver, and Jason Trusnick was all over him.
That's a very good way of describing it, all over him. Again, it is a tough deal trying to be a tight end in the National Football League, because you cannot get anywhere near the line of scrimmage when you're trying to release without people draped all over you, and it's just a fact of life. Fasano knows it, and every other tight end in the league knows it. You get mugged more than anybody else in the game.
On 2nd and 10, Kenny throws, and that is caught by Bess, and Bess out to the 45-yard line. Good hands at number 15.
And really a good throw by Chad Henne, because that play disintegrated in front of him. He's not supposed to be he's not supposed to be in a full back pedal like that with two Cleveland Browns right in his face. You know, when he turns like that, he's having to throw as he kind of falls backwards a little bit, and he would have liked that ball to be a little higher. But again, they're going to the right guy. Get it to Best.
On 3rd and 4, Henne looking for a first down, and had that tipped as he let it go at the line of scrimmage.
And Chad Henne is buried. Again, the pocket integrity for Miami just not there. He's waiting for Brian Hartline to clear on a crossing pattern, but again, he goes down. It's no big deal, but you'd like to see your quarterback standing at the end of the play.
Josh Cribbs back at his own 10-yard line.
Talk about a big play waiting to happen.
And he will let this one bounce into the end zone for the touchback. 11 minutes, 5 seconds to play. 3rd quarter. We're tied at 3. Once again, our thanks to the MetLife Blimp for providing aerial coverage today. Look for MetLife Blimp's Snoopy 1 and 2 when they pass through a town near you. So the Browns, first down from their own 20-yard line, 11:05 to play here in the third quarter. Jake Delhomme, throw it over the middle. That's complete out the 40-yard line to the tight end, Ben Watson.
Well, very quietly, Ben Watson's been having an awfully good year here for the Cleveland Browns. Came into this game with 40 catches, and again, he finds a little soft spot in the Miami zone, and Delhomme with good time sees something we haven't seen a lot of today, a very accurate throw from a quarterback.
Delhomme to the air again, to the outside. And that's complete, and out of bounds to the 45-yard line, 2 in a row to Ben Watson.
Boy, and that was a good time, a good job of Delhomme of spinning Watson away and leading him downfield because he knew there wasn't a defender behind him. And this is where a receiver has to trust his quarterback that he's doing this for a reason. And he spun him downfield because there wasn't a defender there, and it helped him gain a couple extra yards.
25-yard drive the Browns are working on right now. And here's Hillis. And Hillis still on his feet, pulls his way across midfield to the 48. This is the longest drive of the day.
And right there was a good example of after contact how Peyton Hillis keeps on going, because after about 2 yards there was a moment there when it looked like he was going to go to the ground, but he just kept right on going. Now where's the first contact? There it is right there, about 2 yards downfield, and look at him continue to power.
A first down now from the Miami 48. Delhomme to throw, wide open is Watson inside the 30 to about the 25-yard line.
Well, kudos here to offensive coordinator Brian Dable, who's realized that there is a hole in the middle of this Miami defense, and he's going to send Ben Watson in there to exploit it. I mean, they are totally disregarding him. The only guy back there was Jeremiah Bell in a single-eye safety, and no intermediate defense whatsoever. If they're going to give it to you, take advantage of it. Don't stop.
So another first down, and back to Hillis on the ground. Now, apparently the Dolphins have heard about this young Mr. Hillis because they've closed on him. And the amazing thing about Hillis is his ability to leapfrog guys, but he hasn't had enough space to do that today.
No, he hasn't, and that's a good. You know, he's so physical that he senses when guys are going to come and try to put an ankle tackle on him, and that's when he goes to the air. But you have to be in the open to pull that off. It's a sight to see when the old hog takes to the air.
2nd and 9. Delhomme to the outside. That's complete to Brian Robisky, and Robisky to the 20. Let's go back and take a look at how Peyton Hillis does it.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, this is a guy that weighs 250 pounds. And again, when he knows a guy's going low, he just goes up. Even though sometimes they're not that low, he still is able to elevate and get over the top of people. And I asked him about, do you worry about getting hurt doing it? And he goes, no, you know, I've been doing it all my life.
He doesn't even think about it.
No, it is what it is. I don't think I could actually control it if I really consciously tried not to.
Here's a 3rd and 4 for Delhomme and the Browns. And here come the Dolphins. And there goes Delhomme. Down at about the 32.
And who would you think might get in there? If you were going to make a bet, would Cameron Wake be involved in any way? He's one of the guys back there. Tony McDaniel there as well. There comes Wake, even being held a little bit. McDaniel actually was the first guy there. Wake was second. It'll be interesting to see if Cameron Wake gets half a sack out of that or not.
So Phil Dawson to try a 47-yard field goal. Kick on its way and looks off the upright. Started out straight and true, and then it began to bend to the left and never made it past the upright.
Well, Eric Mangini knows what a tight football game this is. Points are precious. And they just had a few potential ones evaporate.
Tony Sperano with an extra defender on the field for that one. Phil Dawson kind of mentally kicking himself on the sideline for that last field goal attempt.
Well, he's been a reliable kicker for the Browns for a dozen years.
Chad Henne going to go to the air and going to go deep down the middle of the field for Best and overthrow it. Pass intended for Best. Joe Hayden covering gives us an opportunity to say from TV's #1 comedy to the #1 new comedy, the #1 news magazine, the #1 news show, and the #1 show on television. Thanks for making CBS America's #1 network. And Dan, I'd like to be the first to say Merry Christmas to you.
Well, Greg, that is a head start on
it. It is.
And the same to you.
In case I forget. 2nd and 10.
You won't. You never do.
Short drop this time and a quick pop. And for first down yardage is Anthony Fasano out to the 49-yard line.
Well, in a 3-3 ball game, everyone knows the importance of a field goal, and this was on the one from Dawson that hit the upright. They have some little frustration there on the Browns sideline. And I'm sure Eric Mangini, when he sent Dawson out there, didn't think there was a chance that he was going. Not that that was a chip shot, but for Dawson, he's extremely reliable from that range.
First down, Dolphins now at their own 49. And he would be used to Ronnie Brown. And Brown across the midfield stripe and into Cleveland territory at the 49, where Marcus Bernard and Joe Hayden. Boy, Joe Hayden is active, isn't he?
I wondered if you were, sometimes doing the play-by-play, you're just calling names. You've got to be aware of how many times you've said Joe Hayden in this game. He has been all over the place. And it's, he's not a huge guy at 5'11", but he's showing he's not afraid to come up and stick somebody on run support.
On 2nd and 8, Henne with time to the throw, and that is tipped in the air and incomplete. Intended for Marlon Moore.
Who had coverage on that, Greg?
Joe Hayden.
Well, that actually a throw from Chad Henne. He put it right on the hands of his receiver. Again, there's Joe Hayden. He's got some help over the top, but he's got man underneath, and he's going to run with Moore. And the football is right there, and that's a ball that you'd like to see Moore be able to come down with. Now, Joe Hayden does a great job. He can't play on the ball, but he makes a play on the arms as he pulls both of them down.
On 3rd and 8, they'll give it to Brown. And Brown looking for running room forward to the 45.
This is ridiculous. And the tackle by
Joe Hayden.
Okay. Well, obviously being back in Florida is very agreeable to Joe Hayden. He gets up there, sets the edge, turns the play back to the inside, and then look at him wrap up. He had an arm around both legs of Ronnie Brown in a really, really textbook tackle.
And if Brandon Fields holds to form, he won't give Josh Cribbs a chance to run this back. Bearcats called for and made it drop. And he covered it up. And we have a penalty marker down back upfield.
This is back at the line of scrimmage. If there's any holding or anything like that, it's very different if it's before or after the kick.
During the kick, holding number 58, receiving team. The penalty will be enforced half the distance from the spot of the reception. First down, timeout.
Oh, good. Another offensive challenge. They'll back him up even deeper than they were before.
Put Joe Hayden in.
Well, the fans calling for defense. I don't think there's any question of that here today. 3-3 tie. Under 5 minutes to play in the third quarter. Hillis. To about the 9.
Well, we can't have Peyton Hillis come to South Florida without, yes, why not? Let's have a little Larry Zonka reference. Here he goes against the old St. Louis Cardinals, overpowering, mashing people, and You know, there are some similarities in the way this guy finishes. That was last week against Carolina. The thing of it is, though, is that certainly Larry Zonk is a Hall of Famer. A little early to put Peyton Hillis in that category. But Peyton Hillis, a much bigger part of the passing game than Olden 39 was.
Below. With time in his goal line, goal deep. And pulled in at the 45-yard line by Mohamed Massaquoi.
Boy, and there's a pattern that takes a long time to develop. And Massaquoi working on Chris Clemens, the safety for the Dolphins. But again, look at the pocket integrity. Man, that's the fault of the pass rush. You've got to make that quarterback a little more uncomfortable than that. And even though the ball hangs, it was Massaquoi that able to go up at its highest point and make the catch. But credit that to the Browns offensive line. That was great pass block.
So that gets the Browns out from the shadow of their own goalpost to the 46-yard line. Delhomme with time over the middle, hit his man. Inside the 40 to the 38 is Ben Watson. And with that, off to New York for an NFL Today update and James Brown. JB.
Greg, I'd love to hear you narrate these highlights here. Take a look at Aaron Rodgers of Green Bay hooking up with Donald Driver. Just watch what he does to get to the end zone. How many guys did he escape? He got a little help on that second one there. Got a third when he gets by. 3 of them chasing. Bumps forward to the end zone. 61 yards. 21-13 Green Bay. Greg and Dan.
I would have been able to count, JB, that's for sure.
No kidding. Those might be the worst looking uniforms I ever saw.
On first down, Peyton Hillis. And Hillis is hit hard at the 36. Tim Dobbins and Randy Starks combining for the tackle. Let's give a listen.
That's big boy football right there. That is one where you feel that baby all the way down to your toenails.
Come on, dude. Cleveland been able to put it together as far as drives and collecting yardage.
Well, if this is a passing play, Miami's got to generate some pass rush. Last couple times, Delhomme stood there.
Standing there again. That one is complete. And here comes Massaquoi. Down the sideline, inside the 5 and out of bounds. It'll be first and goal.
Well, Sean Smith has the primary coverage on Massaquoi. He fell down. Sean Smith, one of the bigger corners in the league, but it doesn't do any good to be big if you're flat on the ground. And that's what happens. Oh, you can see going across, he trips. He gets his legs taken out for it looked like Robert Royal he ran into, and he ends up on the ground. And boy, did that break out. Fortunately for Cleveland, that Massaquoi was a designated receiver. He ends up so open.
So now first and goal for Cleveland at the 3-yard line. Delhomme perfect throwing the ball on this drive. The pass to the end zone. Touchdown, Ben Watson.
I'm telling you right now, Mike Nolan, the Miami defensive coordinator, is going to have to change something up, because all of a sudden, no pass rush whatsoever. Jake Delhomme has been around way too long to let him to stand flat-footed in the pocket, and that's what he does again here. And as we saw right after halftime, they're going to Ben Watson. I talked earlier about the traffic a tight end has to deal with. That was a great look at it right there, and Mike Nolan is scratching his forehead going, where did my pass rush go?
Dawson for the extra point, and it is perfect. 1:16 to play in the third. First touchdown of the day. Jake Delhomme throwing his second TD pass of the season to Ben Watson. 10-3 Browns. Ben Watson with his third touchdown catch of the year to culminate a drive that eclipsed more yards than the Browns were able to put together in the first half.
They had fewer than 80 yards at halftime, and they have all of a sudden come to life offensively.
Life such as it is in this game. Nolan Carroll will not hold this one out of the end zone. And they will come out to the 20-yard line and begin the offense there. It gives us an opportunity to remind you tomorrow on CBS. Just one look and you're hooked. The People's Choice nominee for a favorite new TV drama, Hawaii Five-0. New episode tomorrow, only CBS.
Well, I know that Chad Henne tried to target Brian Hartline in the first half, One of them was an underthrow for an interception where Hartline was in great shape, but they got to get him involved in the offense. Without Brandon Marshall, Hartline's got to get some balls thrown his direction.
Kenny, good throw, and he's got his man across the 30 out to the 35. It's Anthony Fasano with that. Back to New York and James Brown, JB.
Greg and Dan, T.O. Terrellonians, 5 catches for 40 yards, but an important 5-yard catch here from Carson Palmer. 9 plays, 70 yards. PAT is missed, so Cincy is trailing by 8 to New Orleans late in the third. Back to Greg and Dan.
Interesting to flex a muscle when you're 2 and 9 on the year, isn't it? First down. Kenny for Ricky Williams, and Williams breaks free. Penalty marker is down in the backfield as Williams moves it across midfield.
Al Riveron all set to deliver a holding call, and then he yanked that down in a hurry.
There is no foul on the play for holding. The result of the play is a first down.
Well, after consulting with Scott Dawson, his umpire, the flag's picked up. But this Ricky Williams, what a move he puts on David Bowens out here in the open field. Look at, he's getting a nice block there from Best, but Bowens goes sailing right on past him. So a little shake and shimmy still left in old number 34.
A couple of sideline reports. Brian Hartline has an injured finger. His return is questionable, and so is the return of Vernon Carey, who's got a knee problem.
Well, that's the first we heard about Hartline after we just talked about getting him involved.
Ronnie Brown. Looked like Joe Hayden making that stop. And there is Hartline as we come to the end of 3. Cleveland leading the Miami Dolphins by a score of 10-3. Back after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Along with our producer Mark Wolf, our director Bob Fishman, and the rest of our terrific CBS Sports crew here in South Florida, Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf, as we start the 4th quarter. Cleveland leading it by a touchdown. Play fake to Ricky Williams. Kenny. Now out to Williams in the flat. And he is pulled to a stop at about the 43, maybe the 42-yard line by the former Miami Dolphin, David Bowen.
Well, the last time Williams made Bowens look bad, and that time Bowens was having none of it. He wrapped him up pretty solidly. Again, though, this is such a tight ball game, and now trailing by 7. Miami, when they move into Cleveland territory here in the 4th quarter, they're only going to get a couple of these drives, and you don't know how many times they're going to cross midfield. They can't afford to just punt this thing away.
With the finger injury to Hartline, Best, Wallace, and Moore are the receivers for Henny. Pulls it down, gonna run with it, and slides down at about the 34-yard line.
Well, that's the second time today that Chad Henne has broken out of the pocket and moved the chains by scrambling for a first down. And again, it just opened up in front of him. You can see that everybody in Cleveland is in a trailing position. And this time, instead of picking up a penalty, the Browns wisely went over the top. That's Brian Hartline.
Joins Brandon Marshall in a spectator role from the sideline. There's Brandon. And the Wildcat formation now. Ronnie Brown calling signals. Brown for Ricky Williams, and Williams to the 30. We talked to Ricky Williams about the Wildcat, and he says, the more we practice it, the better it feels on game day, and they've been practicing it a great deal.
Yeah, they have, and they got away from it for a while, and Tony Sprono told us, we ran the Wildcat because it put our 2 best playmakers on the field at the same time, Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams. But now that we've got people like Devon Best and the injured Brandon Marshall, who's not playing today, we naturally went away from him because we got playmakers elsewhere. Well, with Marshall not playing and Hartline out now, some of their playmakers are over on the sideline.
And this time Brown will keep it. Try to turn the corner, and he does. And he's inside the 25-yard or 27-yard line, rather. and is out of bounds. And the Miami Dolphins threatening to make their first visit of the day to the red zone.
Yeah. And I think this is Wildcat by necessity for Miami. Henny hasn't had the best day throwing the football, and with Marshall and Hartline both on the bench, this is this is what they've got. But there's no question that over the years, the last couple of years, how the Wildcats' effectiveness has really diminished.
Williams and Polite in the backfield. Henny to throw. That's complete. Inside the 20, out of bounds at the 18-yard line. Devon Bess.
Well, Joe Hayden is over there on Devon Bess. You know, the Dolphins gave Devon Bess a contract extension and a lot of money because they realize what they've got with this guy. You can see how he sold Hayden on a deeper pattern. And he broke it off very cleanly and found himself wide open. But man, this guy competes for the football. And moving the chains, you saw that graphic right there. Second in the NFL in first down catches. That's nice.
And into that red zone for the first time, Ronnie Brown with the keeper around the right side, inside the 15-yard line and out of bounds at about the 14.
Well, here's the Wildcat from above. And again, look at the patience of Ronnie Brown as he's setting up his blockers out there, waits for Polite to get out there and make a good hit, and then hurdles him. I like looking at a play from that angle. That's pretty cool. Colt McCoy on the left, Jake Delhomme on the right.
So Miami back to the Wildcat. Ronnie Brown pulling the signals on the 10th play of this drive. Looking for running room. Forward to about the 11.
And keep in mind, Ronnie Brown is a threat to throw the football out of the Wildcat. Chad Henne's coming back into the game, but I'm sure that's something that Cleveland has worked on during the week, that Ronnie Brown will throw it. But, you know, sometimes you get into the fourth quarter of a ball game, you're a little tired. You're not thinking maybe the way you think during meetings, and might be an opportunity for Brown to put one in the air when they go back to it.
3rd and 3. And he will throw for it. Goal line, touchdown to Fasano.
Well, there is some measure of redemption for Chad Henne, because you can't throw a much better pass than that laser he just throws in there to Anthony Fasano. Look at Fasano. You got to be physical, get yourself a little separation, but look at the quality of that throw from Henne. Exactly the right place where only Fasano could make a play on the ball.
Fasano's 4th touchdown catch of the season. The kick is good. And just under 10.5 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. Tony Sperano cheering his charges on. Miami has come back to tie this game. It's Cleveland 10 and the Dolphins 10.
Welcome back to Miami, everybody. There's Anthony Fasano. Watch him drive and then watch him come across in the middle. But look at the hand fighting as he gets away. He gets a little separation, and then he finds that real void in the middle of that Cleveland defense. No safeties right there in the middle. He fought for the middle and won.
Pretty good protection for Chad Henne, too, up front. Here comes Cribb. Just as he crossed the 20-yard line, he was hit, and hit hard at the 21. 10:21 to play, 4th quarter. We're tied at 10. 10:21 to play in the 4th quarter. It hasn't been an offensive masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination, but you're looking at a couple of teams that'll take it no matter what. Delhomme to throw on 1st down. And out to about the 24-yard line is the tight end, Ben Watson. Wednesday on Showtime, JB, Chris Collinsworth, Warren Sapp, Phil Simms coming your way. Cable's longest running show, the multi-award winning Inside the NFL every Wednesday on Showtime. And we send out our very best to our friend and colleague Phil Simms. who was out of action this week. He'll be back next week.
How about Benjamin Watson? He's got 9 receptions. The former Patriot, 6 years there, catching balls from Tom Brady. It's been a while since he's had a game that big.
Delhomme, under pressure, got rid of that one.
Well, he got rid of that, and he was still in the pocket, but the reason it wasn't intentional grounding, he threw it right at the feet of Peyton Hillis. So he had a, he violated the rule in the spirit, but not in its technicality.
And that's what counts.
He did not want to take a sack, so he got rid of it. He intentionally grounded it, but he did it legally.
Meanwhile, Ben Watson with a career-high 9 catches today. 3rd and 8. That pass incomplete. Massaquoi, the intended receiver, and Vontae Davis was right on it.
Yeah, that was really good coverage by Davis, and I'm not sure that Massaquoi and Delhomme were on the same page in terms of the adjustment to the Miami blitz. Massaquoi looked a little surprised when the football was coming his direction so quickly.
They have to put Reggie Hodges' right leg in a sling after today. It's the 7th time he's kicked it away. Goes punter to the top. Devon Bess from the 26. And stepped out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. 9:25 to play. Jad Henne going to see if he can still keep his mojo working. Jake Long with a little extra equipment today, Dan.
Well, he's got a shoulder harness there. His left shoulder dislocated it a while ago. He's playing through. It's not real effective, but I tell you, he's one tough hombre, and he is not going to the sideline.
Wildcat side, Ronnie Brown keeps it and moves it to about the 40-yard line. Clock continues to move, coming up on 9 minutes to play in the 4th quarter of a tie game.
And of course, you see every time there's a glance to the sidelines to see whether or not it's Wildcat, Henne in, Henne out. And Ronnie Brown has been, again, it's been there because of necessity, I think. Some of the playmakers are on the sidelines.
Brown going to keep this one. Gets into trouble and loses yardage on the play. T.J. Ward, the rookie safety.
If you're a fan of defensive backs, the Cleveland Browns, you would have a pretty good argument that they had a sensational 2010 draft. When you talk about taking Joe Hayden in the 1st round, and in the 2nd round they had that guy T.J. Ward from Oregon. I mean, these two guys are both starters now. Ward's been there all year, and I'm telling you, they are getting some good play. These two are going to be Pro Bowlers down the road.
3rd and 7. Henne back into the lineup.
Shawn Rogers.
And got tripped up by Shawn Rogers.
Man, I'm telling you, when he gets some momentum going upfield, it's like the Queen Mary coming into a dock with a motor style. You just can't stop it. I mean, it is one of the most powerful guys that's played in this game in quite some time. There he is lined up right over the center, and look at this. He just goes right by Ricky Williams and right over Joe Berger, the center, and then keeps going and has got enough oomph to actually get in there and trip up Henne from behind.
We started off today talking about a Taba Rubin, but Shawn Rogers has played himself a heck of a game. This kick hits the goal line and bounces into and out of the end zone. Back to the 20-yard line, and we're back to Sun Life Stadium after this.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Genworth Financial and by Sears. Be the Santa you want to be. Find your Santa at Sears.com/Santa.
Well, not much question. Defense has been in evidence here. The offenses have been pretty impotent to this stage. 1st down from the 20-yard line for the Browns. And here is Delhomme with a good play fake. looking for running room. Penalty marker in the backfield as he's brought down at about the 22-yard line.
What a collision by two Miami guys that went right over the top of Jake Delhomme and KO'd each other. Well, that's Kendall Langford there on the ground, number 70. I think Tim Dobbins was the other, but you could hear that all the way up here in the broadcast booth.
Holding number 77, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
So the penalty is on Floyd Womack, and Dobbins being looked at separately, but Kendall Langford still on the ground.
Well, both of those guys tried not to hit Jake Delhomme, and they ended up just annihilating each other.
We'll check on them. You check on this. We'll be right back. Well, the good news is Kendall Langford was able to walk off the field under his own power, and he's being looked at on the sideline after that hit.
Well, Jake Delhomme is going to scramble, then he's going to duck. Watch him get down, and man, just a head-on collision between Dobbins and Langford. And Jake Delhomme getting underneath that thing illustrates why he's still in the NFL at almost 36. If he wouldn't have ducked, his career wouldn't have been nearly that long.
So it's 1st and 20 now for Delhomme. Over the middle to the 17-yard line with the completion to Ben Watson.
Man, and that's number 10 on the day for Ben Watson. And in the second half, Jake Delhomme and offensive coordinator Brian Dable, they have locked in on number 82, and he is the go-to guy.
Speaking of locking in, this Miami defense is locked in on Peyton Hillis. Cleveland averages almost 117 rushing yards a game. They have 48 today. 2nd and 13. Hillis out of the backfield, out to the 25-yard line. Jeremiah Bell there to meet him.
Well, they got themselves into a little more of a manageable third down, but again, look at the dexterity here by Peyton Hillis. That ball's a little bit behind him, and even though he stopped looking at the football, by feel, he was able to finish that catch after he had already turned his head upfield looking for a tackler. Now that is innate skill.
3rd and 5. Over the middle, complete and dragged down. Chancey Stuckey made the catch. Benny Sapp made the tackle.
Oh, and Benny Sapp, I don't know, did he keep him from getting the first down? He sure did. What an open field tackle by the Dolphins nickelback, Benny Sapp. He's got Stuckey all the way man coverage, but look, he won't let him get any momentum up the field. And he brings up a 4th and 1. Man, and Jake knows he didn't get it.
Devon Best at his own 25-yard line for yet another Reggie Hodges punt. This one looks like it's returnable. Best from the 12. Makes a couple of guys miss, and the first one comes back and gets him. Mike Adams with the special teams play. Hey, next Sunday, the NFL on CBS, doubleheader day. Dan and I will be in Pittsburgh, where the Bengals and the Steelers will renew their AFC North rivalry. And then two teams trying to win their divisions, New England and Chicago head-to-head. The day kicks off with the NFL Today and the usual suspects in New York. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and the coach.
Well, 4 minutes, 42 seconds now. Tie ball game. Who's going to blink? Who's going to make the mistake that might set the other guy up for a winner?
Day from his own 22. Play action. Running out of time. Spins out of trouble. And forward to about the 24-yard line. Jason Trusnick with the tackle.
You know, Chad Henne showing that he is he's not one of those soft tackles back in the backfield. If you're going to bring him to the ground, you better bring a lunch pail and both arms, because he does not go down easily. You talk to all the Dolphins players about Chad Henne, and we've seen some of the growing pains. The one thing they talk about over and over is his physical and mental toughness. He never complains about anything.
2nd and 8. in trouble again and throws and had it batted back at him by David Bowens. And that looked like it could have gained some yardage if it had gotten through to his receiver.
Everything went well for Miami there. Henny's staying alive, getting out of there, and he did have an open receiver. Give David Bowens credit. He made a really good play. Henny gets out of there. He realizes he's got an open guy out there, and Ricky Williams, he's just trying to dump him the ball. And David Bowens heads up.
David Bowens had 2 interception returns for touchdowns in the same game against New Orleans earlier this year. 3rd and 8. Short drop. Henny throws incomplete.
So trying to throw it out there to Roberto Wallace. And again, that didn't appear to have much of a chance of being completed. And that was not the 3-and-out that Tony Sperano was looking for.
That is the 4th straight 3-and-out that these teams have combined for.
No, at this stage of the game, you look at that clock, you see how much time's left, and you're going to yourself, if you're a Dolphins fan, uh-oh.
Kicking it away from Cribbs.
What a punt. That was a beauty.
Brandon Fields gets the attaboy from his coach on the sideline. Want to remind you, coming up, the Subway postgame show with JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher. All the latest NFL scores and highlights all coming up on the Subway postgame show.
A little net 58-yard punt. That's a nice swap of field position right there. That's Darren Rizzi, the special teams coach. Remember, earlier this year, John Bonamego was the special teams coordinator, and after the debacle against New England, he was let go by Tony Sperano, and Rizzi was his assistant.
Coach Rizzi rivals Tony Sperano as far as enthusiasm on the sideline.
Well, that's not the way he wanted to get the job, by having his superior have to be relieved of his duties, but Sperano, he just felt he had to do something.
First down, Cleveland. 3:39 to play in regulation. Gillis. The ball comes out. Dolphins say they have it, but it's going to be ruled down at the 20-yard line.
Well, Peyton Hillis has lost 4 fumbles on the season so far. Tony Sperano, I'm sure, is wanting some advice on whether or not he could challenge this, if he was down or not. Oh yeah, he's down. Yeah, his left arm is on the ground, his elbow's on the ground before that ball came out.
And we get a timeout called by the Dolphins.
Well, they want to look at this.
Miami.
I think they'd like to look at this maybe a little more.
Timeout.
But I don't. It looked to me like Peyton Hillis, his arm was on the ground. Again, he's going to roll over the top here. He's got the ball. He's still got the ball. Yeah, there's no question. I think by the time that ball comes out, at least my estimation, he looked like he was down.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, the Dolphins told us they thought there were some possibilities there of shaking the ball loose from Peyton Hillis.
Yeah. Oh, and they got it out, and it was, by the hair on his chinny chin that he didn't lose it a nanosecond earlier. But there's no doubt that he was down.
So the Dolphins down to 2 timeouts. 2nd and 8. Hillis again. And this time running room across the 25 to about the 26-yard line as we dip under 3 minutes to play. And it'll be 3rd and about 2 or 3 yards for a first down.
Well, a couple times they come with a hammer here on 1st and 2nd down. Now they hurry up.
And penalty marker flies.
Well, there's no question that the Browns weren't ready. The question is, that the Dolphins weren't ready, but did the Browns get set?
Man the field. Defense, 5-yard penalty. 5-yard penalty will result in a first down.
That is the first down this quarter for the Cleveland Browns.
Well, and they were smart by they realized that Miami was in the middle of a substitution and did not have the ability to clear the field before Jake Delhomme got up and snapped it. Mike Nolan, their defensive coordinator, he's a studious guy, and he's done a heck of a job here in Miami.
From the 31.
No pick.
Delhomme, that's complete to Massaquoi to the 39.
Boy, Vontae Davis was right there, and he was an immediate tackle, but Massaquoi, a pretty good-sized guy at 6'2", was able to shield Davis away from the football.
2:15 to play as we come up on the 2-minute warning. And Jake Delhomme is going to let this one go down to the 2-minute warning. If you're thinking about Phil Dawson, his season long is 48 yards. They have a ways to go to get there, but right now it's a 10-10 game with 2 minutes to play. Back after this. Phil Dawson has a career long of 56, a season long of 48, but he's missed his last 5 attempts from 50 or more yards. 2nd and 2 for Delhomme and the Browns. Under pressure, he goes down, back at the 28-yard line. Cameron Wake.
Man, Cameron Wake, you run out of superlatives when you start talking about this guy's relentless pass rushing abilities and skills. He's down at the bottom in the 4-point stance. You know what? I got news for you, Cleveland. It would help to assign a blocker to number 91 instead of just letting him run free. Floyd Womack, the guard, kind of looks at him at the last minute, and Cameron Wake goes, "Are you kidding me? This is a sweet game when nobody blocks me."
So Miami uses its second timeout to stop the clock with 1:49 to play.
Which is a good idea by Miami because they're now thinking of doing something when they get the ball back. Boy, you just can't turn Cameron Wake loose like that.
Delhomme has good numbers here in the second half. 13 of 16, 169 yards and a touchdown.
And a lot of those have been to Benjamin Watson.
3rd and 10. Here come the Dolphins. The quick pass, almost intercepted on the far side of the field by Nolan Carroll.
That was the ball game right there. The rookie had a chance to be somebody because this gets served up by Jake Delhomme. Oh, just bounces right off his chest. He lets it get into his body.
So now Devon Bess trying to get some decent field position.
And then, dropped ball, stopped the clock. That's the only good thing that happened for Miami there.
Bess with a chance to return this one. Out to the 25-yard line. Mike Adams with the tackle. 1:34 on the clock. Henny with pretty similar numbers, except he hasn't thrown a pick here in the second half.
Well, and again, Chad Henne, he's in that offensive huddle missing Brandon Marshall. He's missing Brian Hartline. And the big, a couple of his bigger playmakers are both out of this with injury.
Now, Dan Carpenter has a 60-yard field goal to his credit today.
I'm not sure that they should try to think he could make 2 of them.
Ronnie Brown to about the 26.
Well, Cleveland's pretty happy with that play call.
Not the fans.
No, but the Browns are.
And we have Brown down on the field. And the clock continues to move. Now he's up. Marcus Bernard. 2nd and 9. Henny incomplete over the middle at the feet of Fasano and stops the clock with 65 seconds to play.
Well, this is where Chad Henne finds himself at a crossroads. You have a game in front of you that you'd like to win, but at the same token, you don't want to commit the game-losing error in your own territory. This is where it is really tough to be a quarterback at any level, but especially here in the NFL.
3 straight incompletions thrown by Henne. He's looking at 3rd and 9. That was tipped and picked off by Adams. Adams around the left side. Out of bounds at the 2.
Boy, we have seen a lot of batted balls today by both teams. We have seen a bunch, and that one was disastrous. All right, let's take a look at what Chad Henne sees. Good protection right there at the line of scrimmage. Look like David Bowens, again, the former Dolphin. He has batted a couple passes today. He's had an active day. But right there on the left side of your screen, he gets it with his left hand. And that is just really fortunate that it just caroms right to his own teammate, Mike Adams.
This is amazing. At the worst, the Dolphins were looking at overtime.
I mean, that's just really, really horrible luck for Miami. It's not luck that Bowens batted the ball. Give him credit for that. But the fact that that thing was just on its way down and went directly to a Cleveland Brown that was standing there, that's very fortunate.
And Miami uses its 3rd and final timeout to stop the clock with 51 seconds to play.
And unfortunately for Chad Henne, that is his 3rd interception of the day. And the Dolphins fans are their patience watching Chad Henne try to grow up is growing mighty thin.
Chad Henne's interceptions, an underthrow, an overthrow, and a tip pass.
And a tip pass. Well, a tip pass, that's not Chad Henne's fault. That happens to any quarterback. He's trying to throw the ball to a receiver. Give the Browns credit. They hung in there. They wouldn't go away. Now, this game isn't over yet.
No, looks like they're just going to take some time off the clock here. Delhomme takes a knee.
Well, Miami is out of timeouts.
Yep.
This isn't going to be much more than an extra point for Dawson.
And Cleveland, with all 3 of its timeouts, can just stop the clock whenever they want to. And as we come up on half a minute to play in regulation. Cleveland has won 3 of its last 5 games. They started the season 1-5. And the Dolphins looking directly into the face of another home loss. Delhomme to the ground. And with time winding down, we'll call a timeout with 3 seconds to play, and here comes Dawson.
There's a school of thought that says, we should try it on 3rd down in case there's a, fumbled snap or something like that. But you weigh that, you're only going to have a 3-point lead. You're going to weigh that, well, geez, we give them, 15 or 20 seconds on the clock on the back end to do something. This way, whatever happens, the game, if it's good, the game is over.
Eric Mangini's team with a trip to Buffalo next week. And while Miami hosts the New York Jets.
Of course, the Browns are looking at a situation where they can win on a field goal. Remember, they won last week because Carolina, Casey missed a field goal on the last play of the game. So the Browns are used to coming down to a field goal at the very end.
24-yarder. And it is good. As time expires, Phil Dawson, 24-yard field goal. The Browns convert a late interception into a game-winning 3 points and improve their record to 5-7.
It was a high snap, a good job by Hodges of fielding that high snap and giving Dawson a good, clean placement. And give Phil Dawson credit for one thing. He gets the game winner, but his margin of victory wasn't that one. It was the 60-yarder.
How about this, Dan? The game-winning drive was 4 plays for -4 yards.
I misspoke. Carpenter's the guy that had the 60-yarder. I almost gave Dawson credit for something he didn't do. But, man, what a frustrating loss here for the Miami Dolphins. This one has to hurt.
Our final score, 13-10. Cleveland for Dan Deerdorf and the rest of our crew. Greg Gumbel so long from Miami to James Brown in New York for the Subway postgame show. After this.